I'm also excited to talk to Shea Dixon of Go247. At Shea Dixon 247 on Twitter. I'm trying to go from memory, Shea. I don't know if that's right. Where can people find you on Twitter?
At Shea Dixon. You want just the memory's still there, T-Bob.
So close. Shea, so a lot of news on the recruiting front. High school football in California has been postponed. It's also been postponed in Virginia. This is an LSU class that is very national in its makeup, and it has players from those states. Do you have any insight into what some of these commits are thinking about doing now that it looks like their senior years will be pushed back into spring?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you say California and Virginia, LSU's got commitments in both states. They've got top targets in both states. So it's notable for them to say that in California, for instance, that it's moving back to late winter and all the way into April playing football and playoffs being in April. And then Virginia last week saying that it's either going to be in the winter or the spring or not at all. It's certainly not going to be in the fall. And we caught up with Rajon Davis yesterday, swapped messages with him, and California had just announced the ruling, and obviously he had not talked a ton about how things were going to play out from there with his family, and that's what he said. He said, look, I'm going to talk things over with my parents, see what the best move is. But look, you had Ed Orgeron on radio on Tuesday morning, and he said very matter-of-factly, and I think this is the one thing we're going to see a lot of, T-Bob, is that more early enrollees than usual because kids are going to want to be speeding up their process, go ahead and get onto campus. And I think some people would think, it would be less early enrollees. These kids would want to, stay their senior year, stay in the spring, play their senior year of high school football with all their buddies, and then enroll in the summer. But I just get the feeling, and Orgeron hinted at it, that a lot of these guys are ready to just go ahead and get everything over with. Let's move on to college. Let's get into a college program in January as an early enrollee. And the one thing I guess people are really curious to see is, does kids try what happens in basketball a lot, reclassified to where right now with one extra spot, as Orgeron said this morning on Off the Bench, he said he's got one spot. If a kid has everything in line academically to be able to enroll in a college in the fall, they could take him. But then again, you have to go through the NCAA clearinghouse, and even more than that, T-Bob, you and I, even coming out of GAC and myself, Hattiesburg High,
shut up.
Going into our senior years, I don't think we were had enough credits yet to get into college. So if a kid is going ahead and jumping into a college program right now this fall, they would have had to have put in a ton of work in high school already. I think it's more going to be load up on fall courses and enroll for December, but it'll be worth watching with guys like Corey Foreman in California, Tristan Lee in Virginia, Rajon Davis, obviously in California, Naquan Brown, a commitment in Virginia. Whether it's commitments or top target 5-star guys, a lot of these college coaches are sitting around saying, hey, look, we have a spot if you want it, and where do your academics lie, and can you get into college now versus January?
Real quick, I don't want to belabor this point, but the Mason Smith tweet about reclassifying, he said it was a joke. Is that you believe that?
Yeah, and with Louisiana hasn't made a decision on football, so you know, I think if they're playing in the fall, even push back a little, he'll stick it out and ultimately enroll somewhere in January, which I'd expect would be the case with most guys. I would be really shocked, and this too, T-Bob, you've played at the level and you get it, and I think most people would understand it. As good as a guy like Corey Foreman is, a 5-star defensive end, even if he reclassifies and makes that decision very short order and enrolls in a college for fall camp or whatnot, that's not giving you a ton of time to be game ready and playing. And you're either taking a red shirt or playing some, but not up to your full potential of where you would have been a year from now. And I think because of that, it would have to be a really big-time player to be able to, like an Eric Gilbert type, to be able to help you out as someone who's still 17 years old and hasn't spent any time in a college strength program.
Yeah. I mean, look, to be clear, and also that is a move that would only appeal, I think, to the best of the best, to the guys that already think like, okay, I'm only going to be there 3 years, so if I could go there now and kind of get that process started, maybe I could leave early, maybe end up staying for it. Like, so it's an exclusive club that could potentially apply to. Shea, so the guys that are going to be seniors this year, they've already been scouted. They've already been developed. Yes, some guys are absolutely going to miss out on the opportunity to show that they were a late bloomer and to earn a scholarship late in the process, and that's a huge bummer. But what about the ripple effects down the line? Because that's what I'm trying to parse through. That's pretty fascinating to me. When you look at California, you're talking about a state that has about 10% of the top 500 prospects. And I'm guessing that number is relatively similar on any given year. What do you think this does for guys who are like rising sophomores or rising juniors when you really get that interest, get those offers? If they are to miss out on the season or have this pushed back, how does it affect their recruitment, and how does it affect the evaluation from all these colleges?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. We could talk for 2 hours and not touch on it all. I think one of the biggest things, which you and Orgeron talked about this morning, LSU and Bama and Ohio State, these schools will have almost 20 commits by the time September's here. So you're not really relying on senior evals as make or break moments for you, but other schools are. And other schools are very good at that because history indicates that your senior year is the biggest indicator of what your future talent is. Where
I never knew that.
Development-wise. I think that when you look at, people talk a lot about quarterbacks and guys who went to the NFL, and you look at the 32 starters. I read an article last year, I think 25, 26, 27 of them had their best year was their senior year. And that was kind of the indicator of how good they could be. I think that the teams like TCU, some other schools who do really well at evaling late, and then a lot of the smaller schools, even the ULs, for instance, put a ton on senior film. They don't even offer kids a lot of them who are sophomores.
Wow.
Billy Napier and them wait till junior year. They see how they play. Then they wait till senior year. And they're not in that same rush that an LSU or a Bama or Ohio State is to chase all these five stars who everybody already knows about and everybody's already evaled. But instead, they're finding the diamonds in the rough that have, come out of nowhere as seniors or make massive leaps because they've gotten, a big growth spurt or really added some weight from junior to senior year and athleticism, and they're just playing better. Those are the schools that I think it stings. And then with these younger kids, and it hurts for these seniors for sure, but to not have any spring evaluation period where coaches, some of these kids go to high schools and they'll have, if you're in the Atlanta area, for instance, like you were, you can have 50-something schools stop by in your 3 weeks of practice because they're hopping around to all the schools in the greater Atlanta area, and you've got coaches having an eye on you from every level, whether it's the FBS level or FCS or D2, whatever you might be trying to play, you have coaches coming through. These guys don't have that. Then you throw in that you had no summer camp. You didn't get to go anywhere and compete on campus in front of coaches, have them get hands-on with you, which is the only time they're allowed to do that in your recruiting process. Your evaluation has come down to just film. And it's going to make it really interesting, T-Bob, I think, in a few years to look back at who really hit on this class, for instance, who was able to not have to rely on how well a kid tested at their camp or how well they did at the opening or any of that. If all you've got is film, it's kind of like an old school method here. How good are you at just the roots of an evaluation? And I think we'll not know the answer to that for a few years, but we'll be able to look back at these signing classes and say, well, look, these people did a bad job. They've only got 6 kids left on campus and 4 of them have contributed. Or, whoa, this team really hit. They've got upwards of 15, 18 kids that are playing massive roles for their team, and they never even got to work them out. They just knew all this off film. So that's going to be interesting to me. And then these younger kids basically have to press pause on their recruitment and just pick it up again next spring with the hope that they have played some type of football in between now and then to put some film out there. And then the reality that, or the hopeful reality that by next spring, they'll have coaches at their high school again, and they'll be back at summer camps. And while they will have missed a year of their evaluation process, it won't be the end of it for them.
Shea Dixon, he's the best. Go 247 at Shea Dixon on Twitter. Shady, anything you want to tell the people on the way out here?
Well, if you want to check out our work, hit Go 24/7. We've been tracking as much as we can, all the craziness that's come with it. And man, other than that, I don't know if any like fun facts about myself or personal life. I'll tell you this. Right now, I am juggling this interview, which I would never pass up an opportunity to rap with T-Bob,
You're the man.
with also my nephews being here this week, and I rented them one of those like huge blow-up slides for the yard. So I'm looking at the people right now out there blowing it up. So as soon as I think I could even do the final few seconds here on the slide, but it doesn't look quite ready yet.
Dude, you are a great uncle. So are you're taking the kids off of your brother or your sister's hands or something, give them a little break?
No, so they're here. Yes, their mother's here as well. So she's here for the entertainment purposes and hanging out. And these kids, though, I'll tell you this: one of them's in college, the other two are in high school. So it's not really babysitting.
Oh, you got the slide for the high schoolers? Okay, yeah, this took on a whole different This is way different than I was thinking like 5 minutes ago.
No. There'll be no holding hands of anything. These kids are looking to probably pop the slide. I actually need to look at what the insurance
they're going to be smoking weed behind the slides. Watch out, Shea. Shea Dixon, the man.
That's like I said, their mother's here. She'll be watching this.
The man, the myth, the legend, falling for all your recruiting needs. Shea, thanks so much, man.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Good luck with the slide. All right, wrap it up, OTB OT. When